Welcome to Come Study with Elder Brock. Today we open the Scriptures together and allow the Word of the Lord to shape our hearts. In these chapters, the Lord forms a covenant people through commands that touch everyday life. What seems small reveals what is holy. Justice and mercy walk together. Because we belong to Him, we are invited to live differently. Deuteronomy 32 opens with a song of Moses, a covenant witness set before heaven and earth. Moses calls the heavens to hear and the earth to receive the doctrine that drops as rain and distills as dew. He declares that the Lord is the rock, perfect in His work, just and true, without iniquity. Yet the people have corrupted themselves, forgetting the God who formed them. The song rehearses their history. The Lord found Israel in a desert land, led them about, instructed them, and kept them as the apple of His eye. Like an eagle stirring up her nest, He bore them on His wings. He nourished them with honey from the rock and oil from the flinty stone. But prosperity bred pride. Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked, forsaking the rock of salvation. Idolatry followed, and covenant loyalty faltered. Therefore the Lord warns of chastening, scattering, and sword, yet He also promises mercy. He will judge His people and repent Himself for His servants when He sees their power is gone. Vengeance is His and recompense. He will atone for His land and His people. The song stands as a perpetual testimony that covenant blessings and covenant consequences are real. Chapter 33 records Moses blessing the tribes before his death. He speaks of the Lord coming from Sinai, shining forth from Seir, and dwelling in Jeshurun as king. Each tribe receives a prophetic word. Reuben lives, Judah is helped, Levi is entrusted with priesthood service, Joseph is blessed with precious things of heaven and earth, and the tribes are strengthened according to their inheritance. Moses concludes that there is none like the God of Jeshurun, who rides upon the heaven in help and casts out the enemy. The eternal God is Israel's refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. Chapter 34 closes the earthly ministry of Moses. From Mount Nebo he beholds the promised land he will not enter. There he dies according to the word of the Lord, and the Lord buries him in a valley of Moab. Israel weeps 30 days. Joshua, filled with the spirit of wisdom, because Moses laid hands upon him, leads the people forward. The record affirms that there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, in all the signs and wonders and mighty acts done in Egypt and in the wilderness. These chapters form a sacred conclusion. The covenant is sung, the tribes are blessed, the prophet finishes his course, and leadership passes forward. The rock remains perfect. The refuge remains sure. The everlasting arms remain beneath a covenant people who remember their God and walk in His ways. Deuteronomy 33 records the final blessing of Moses upon the tribes of Israel before his death. After covenant warning in the previous song, he now speaks prophetic favor. The chapter opens with a majestic vision of the Lord coming from Sinai, rising from Seir, shining from Mount Paran, arriving with myriads of holy ones. The imagery declares divine kingship. The Lord loves His people. All His saints are in His hand. He establishes law and inheritance, and in Jeshurun He is king when the heads of the people assemble. Moses blesses each tribe in turn. Reuben is granted life, though few in number. Judah receives prayer that he may be helped against enemies. Levi is affirmed in priestly stewardship. The Urim and Thummim belong to him. He teaches Jacob the judgments and Israel the law. He offers incense and sacrifice. His loyalty at Massah and Meribah showed covenant faithfulness above natural ties. Moses petitions that Levi's substance be blessed and adversary smitten. Benjamin is beloved of the Lord, dwelling in safety by Him, covered all the day long. Joseph receives abundant blessing, precious things of heaven, dew, deep springs, fruits of sun and moon, ancient mountains, and the goodwill of him who dwelt in the bush. Strength like the firstborn bull and horns like the wild ox signify power to push peoples to the ends of the earth. Ephraim and Manasseh share that abundance. Zebulun and Issachar rejoice in going out and in tents. They call peoples to the mountain and offer righteous sacrifices, drawing from seas and hidden sand treasures. Gad enlarges territory and executes the justice of the Lord. Dan is like a lion's whelp leaping from Bashan. Naphtali is satisfied with favor and full of blessing, possessing west and south. Asher is favored among brethren, dipping his foot in oil, iron and brass as shoes, strength enduring as days endure. The blessing ends in doxology. There is none like the God of Jeshurun, who rides upon the heaven in help and excellency on the sky. The eternal God is refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He thrusts out the enemy and declares destruction upon oppression. Israel dwells in safety. The fountain of Jacob rests in a land of grain and wine. The heavens drop dew. Moses declares Israel happy, saved by the Lord, shield of help and sword of excellency. Enemies submit, and Israel treads upon high places. This chapter forms a covenant benediction. Tribal distinctions remain, yet all rest under one divine kingship. Priesthood, protection, provision, territory, strength, and joy flow from one source. The God who revealed himself at Sinai's shores' continued presence. Blessing is covenantal, grounded in obedience and promise. Under everlasting arms, the people are called to live worthy of the favor spoken over them. Deuteronomy 34 records the final moments of Moses' mortal ministry and the transition of leadership in Israel. The chapter opens with Moses ascending from the plains of Moab unto Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, opposite Jericho. There the Lord shows him all the land, Gilead unto Dan, Naphtali, Ephraim, Manasseh, Judah unto the utmost sea, the south, and the plain of Jericho, the city of palm trees, unto Zor. The vision fulfills the promise first spoken to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Though Moses will not enter, he beholds with covenant clarity the inheritance prepared for the seed. The Lord then declares that Moses has seen the land with his eyes, but shall not cross over thither. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, dies there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. The text affirms that the Lord buries him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, and no man knows of his sepulchre unto this day. The hidden grave underscores divine ownership of the prophet's departure. Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. His vigor remained. Yet his commission was complete. The children of Israel weep for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days, and the days of mourning are ended. Grief is honored, but the covenant mission continues. Joshua the son of Nun is full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him. The people hearken unto Joshua and do as the Lord commanded Moses. Authority passes not by ambition, but by ordination. The laying on of hands signifies continuity of divine appointment. The chapter concludes with a testimony unparalleled in Israel's history. There arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. In all the signs and wonders the Lord sent him to do in Egypt before Pharaoh, his servants, and all his land, and in all that mighty hand and great terror which Moses showed in the sight of all Israel. The phrase face to face expresses intimacy of revelation and immediacy of covenant mediation. Moses stood between God and the people, receiving law, interceding in rebellion, and guiding through wilderness trial. Deuteronomy ends not with conquest, but with faithfulness. The promised land is seen before it is possessed. The prophet finishes his course in obedience. Leadership is transferred in order. Memory is preserved in testimony. The Lord remains the covenant-keeping God who raises servants, fulfills promises, and sustains his people across generations. The burial is hidden, but the revelation is public. The servant rests, the mission advances, and the inheritance stands sure before a people called to walk forward in trust.